One viewer. I finally did. I'm big time. I had one viewer ask for my build. So I'm retired now. I'm starting my YouTube career. And all because of you, viewer. You did it. Thank you for making me big time. But all jokes aside, I wanted to get this up anyways, so I figured I'd make it public. So anyone who does happen to stumble upon my randomness here can see what I have put together. And by no means is this unique. I mean, there's a ton of different videos of the core pieces of this build. So, you know, that's the nice thing about this game is you can really personalize this to your gameplay and your style. So, but I don't want to take credit for, oh, look what I created, even though this is all over the internet. But this works for me. So let's get into it. So let's start with the most important part, because without this, it is not going to work. You do need to have either merciless or ruthless. If you don't have Ruthless, don't even ask how to get it because you're not going to be able to. That one was a pre-order. But Merciless, anyone can obtain, and honestly, it's better than Ruthless anyway. It is a steadier gun in my opinion. But with Merciless, we want it because of this, the holstered talent, Brutality. While holstered, landing a shot has 5% chance to deal plus 20% damage as explosive damage, which is awesome for either guns with big mags or guns that shoot real fast and reload real fast. Now this is an LMG build, and I personally prefer the bigger mag over like something with the Vector. But 100 bullets in this mag, so about, they said 5%. So, you know, we're essentially looking at about 5 bullets doing explosive damage, which doesn't seem like a lot, and it really isn't. But if you do the build right, those 5 shots, if you can make them hit, they're going to count, like big time. As far as the primary gun goes, I wouldn't focus too much as far as what actual gun. Just get what you like shooting. You know, find something, take it down the shooting range, and see if it shoots steady. And if that shoots, you know, well for you, great. Make it your primary. I like this one, the military MK46. Um, I rolled unhinged onto this one, and the reason I did is because I had optimized on it. I like optimized with this particular build just because I would rather have decent target acquisition over, you know, a little bit faster shooting rounds. Yeah, you know, if you're getting in it at point blank with the Vector, you're going to lose. And honestly, even with the Allegro, you're probably still going to lose. But with Optimize, because it's easier to keep them on target, if you can keep decent spacing or only push when your team's pushing, you're not going to have any problem fighting any assault rifle or Vector build. But one-on-one, up close and personal, you know, that's a situation you're not going to want to get into with this gun. But that being said, focus on unhinged. The other perks and talents on this, you know, obviously do you. Again, as far as the mods go, this is set for PvP. I did put 5% rate of fire. I just feel like the reload speed, it's just too small of a number to really matter. So might as well get a little extra DPS in there. Um, Again, I like target acquisition, so I'm sticking to stability. I could swap out the critical hit chance and still be able to make requirements for this build, but again, I like stability. And that's pretty much what I've rolled this to, is a more of a stable gun. But you do you, again. Now, moving on to the next important part. So let's talk the DPS talents first. So starting with the backpack. Um, don't focus too much on the brand. Really, all of this stuff can be swapped out to your liking. This just happened to be the gear that worked best for me at the time I put together. As you see, it's a 488, and I got plenty of other stuff I could swap into it. I've just moved on to a different build, so I haven't been focusing on it. But this is what I have. So, on the ropes, weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown. Now, because this is an explosive build, I'm not focusing on critical damage at all. So I want to get my weapon damage up as high as I can. But as you see, this takes 7 utility points. So this is going to be a 3-7-7 build. And that's why I'm using this backpack, because you see I get 1 blue, 2 yellows, and then plus I have a blue mod. So I'm, you know, getting 4 tribute points right there, which is really nice. I would have much rather had a lower cooldown reduction number and a higher skill power. That would have been nice, but whatever. Next one is going to be Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. And this does work just off your base armor number, period. So, in other words, as you're taking damage, it's not like you're losing your DPS. It is based off whatever your max armor is. So, where I'm at, nearly 212,000 armor, and again, 10,000 max armor is being translated to 2% of weapon damage. Really, what that's coming down to is about 44, 43% extra weapon damage I'm getting if I can get a kill. So, that's the one thing with that talent is it is clutched on the fact you need to get a kill. I did want to get one of my red attributes on my chest piece. I have headshot damage, which honestly I would much prefer that headshot damage over this one. I mean, look at that, 15% compared to the 4.5. That's insane. Or weapon damage. Honestly, I think weapon damage would be more useful. But I would actually recommend try rolling one of your offensive attributes onto your chest piece. Let's see, the next DPS talent is Compensated. Weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. Again, I am not focusing on crit at all. In fact, my crit's, laughable right now. I could definitely get a better roll and, get this up a bit. Or I could mod my gun a little differently as well. But if we take a look here at my offense, so my critical chance is only at 4%. Now I need to be under 20, so perfect world, I'd like to get that as close to 20 as I can without actually hitting that number. Just because I'm not going to say no to a crit. It's not a crit build, but if you're going to give me a crit, I'll take a crit. Let's not get, nosy here. Let's take a crit. But I digress. And then passives. So for the passives, obviously hard hitting isn't going to do jack for you in PvP. So I wanted to blow shit up, and that's why I focus on destructive. 20% explosive damage. So I got 3 of those rolled onto this particular build. And technically you could squeeze in another one here and there depending on what you did with your gear, the brands that you chose. But, it's giving me right there 60%. Plus, because of my specialization, I get an extra 25%, so it puts me at 85. And then I would recommend incorporating one piece of China Light Industry Corporation. God, that's a mouthful. And because it gives you 10% explosive damage, which is, why not? Again, it's not a must-have, but you want to blow stuff up, then keep on packing the boom, right? You want to get as much of it as you can. Also, if you are using the light machine gun, I would suggest somewhere get some Petrov going. It's pretty decent getting that extra light machine gun damage. But 377, those are the numbers you want to get. Where I would recommend you put your offensive points is I try to get one either on a mask, so you can get some crit chance, which I didn't get a very good roll on my crit chance. I don't actually think I have any other crit chances in my inventory right now. But I'd recommend the mask. I'd also recommend getting one on the chest piece. Again, this isn't the greatest roll at all. As I showed earlier, you can get up to 15%, so that's awesome. But if you can get lucky with a weapon damage or a high headshot damage, that can be huge, especially in PvP. And then I would recommend trying to get one on the gloves. I got a pretty decent roll on this, 11% on my light machine gun, which is not too shabby. I won't complain about that. So that's where I would try to get your offensive. The reason, again, I chose the gear I chose was because, A, the mods worked out nicely to where I could fit the requirements. Like this Gila chest worked out awesome, where I was able to get, the core 3, blue, yellow, red. And then plus, I was able to get 2 more yellow and an extra blue on it. So, that's definitely a piece that I was glad to hold on to. Because that made putting this together so much easier. And that's why I ended up with this backpack as well. I honestly the health doesn't do squat for this particular build. I would like to get all health pretty much switched to armor, and honestly, a Providence bag wouldn't be terrible to use just because you can get that extra skill power and maybe get a few extra mods in that you're not currently using. But other than that, I mean, really, guys, the only other thing I would talk about that's really nice about this build is because it's a 377, for a lot of people, this is going to give you more skill power than you've ever had. So, for example, here on my chem launcher, I was able to get 4 extra ammo pieces and then obviously increase my heal percentage, which is awesome for my survivability. And for those of you wondering why I'm using these knee pads, the Fenris, because it does assault rifle damage. The only reason I did it was because of survivability. I wanted to get both the destructive and also the patience, so it just worked out that that was the piece that I had that would allow me to do so. And then other than that, I mean, you got obviously some options, but you want stuff that's going to go on cooldown fast as far as your skills. That's how On the Rope works. So I know a lot of people like using Pulse, which isn't terrible in PvP if you have the right mods. Though, we're trying to blow things up. We're trying to make things go boom. Would recommend the Seeker Mine. It's pretty quick. If you wait to throw it till you actually start seeing some people or you see one of their drones, just toss it like a baseball out there. You're going to be on that proc of that talent not long after. That being said, some of these skills are still pretty crappy. In the Seeker Mine, if you drop it by your feet and then run into an encounter, it might leave you vulnerable to get that proc, is because sometimes that thing's just a little bastard, and it's like a shitty BB-8 from Star Wars that just won't do what you say. You just go out there and blow up and kill people, and he just sits there at your feet like, well, not today. Not today, EBOO. I was like, God damn you. So I recommend if you do, like the synergy of the explosive build and you want to use the Seeker Mine, awesome. I think it's an awesome tool in PvP. It helps stutter enemies when they're charging at you. You down a guy, he crawls in the cover, you can throw that, it'll chase him down, finish the fight. So good. But if you drop it at your feet and go running in, there are going to be instances where you're just not getting the On the Rope proc, which is pretty important, where we're not working on crit, we're working on weapon damage. But I digress. So a couple things you need to know about the firing range. It will not show all of the different buffs and procs as far as the damage you're doing. Like, for example, it's not going to show Unstoppable Force, so even if you take down a target, that won't proc. But just kind of give you an idea here. So let's just do some shooting here without anything procced. So you're getting some explosive damage in there. And we are on named difficulty. So, it's pretty decent DPS considering we didn't really proc anything. 379,000, so, close to 400,000. We're getting up there. So now, let's get some of this stuff procced. So you want to drop some of those. Now where I have 7, I like to try to keep myself around 3 at all times, just so it's one less skill I have to worry about. Throw my Seeker Mine over there. Go get those guys, BB-8. See, he listens when you throw him. He doesn't like being thrown. Alright, let's reset this. So we're about at 370. Look at that. Look at that difference. 719,000. $871,000. It's insane. And keep in mind, I got this gun modded for more stability than like DPS. The nice thing too about this build is it can be a pretty much universal build where you can turn it around and use it in PvE. You might want to swap some of the stuff out with hard hitting, but I've used this a couple of times on challenging, and we had no problem. I mean, you get through it. You got to play a little conservative sometimes, but it works. But that's it. That's how you do it. Anyways, enjoyed the video. I guess feel free to comment. I mean, I'm big time now, so I guess I don't have to have the comments. But if you want to leave a comment, sure, I guess that'd be cool too. That being said, I'll end it with some gameplay of this thing in use. Maybe we can get something going on for you. Thanks for watching.